All right, algebra. So the next thing we're doing for applications is angle measure. It kind of relates to perimeter. There are similar concepts where you're totaling stuff and finding out one thing to find out the next and such like that. Okay, but angle measure is going to be a little bit more difficult just because you're going to deal with larger numbers most of the time. Okay, we have a lot of different things with angle measure. So let's get started with just a square. Okay, if we're looking at a square, pretend this is a beautiful square. Okay, a lot of us know that each of these angles is 90 degrees, okay? Perfectly fine. So we have 360 degrees in a square because we have 4 times 90 is 360. And from this, if I just cut this in half, like such, I just made 2 triangles. Well, if we're cutting it in half, that means we just cut the degrees in half. So that must mean a triangle is 180 degrees, okay? So whenever we're talking about angle measure, if it's a triangle, all of the angles, which is going to be A, B, and C. If it was a square, it'd be like A, B, C, D, and whatever they're labeled, it can be different things, but really it's just 3 or 4 sides. Technically, there's 5 or 6 or 7, just depending. All of them are 90 degrees, so the more sides you have, the more 90 degrees you add in, okay? Off of this, we have 2 other things when talking about angle measure, okay? There's complementary, which complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. Okay, and you'll have something like this. Okay, complementary angles, it gives you a 90-degree angle. A right angle, it will be labeled as such, and you'll have something like that. Okay, where you'll have to find the 2 sides based on the information given. Okay, but you're not going to be told, hey, it equals 90 degrees. You're told they're complementary angles, or you're told they're 90. It's a right angle, so you know that they have to add up to 90 degrees. Okay, the other thing is supplementary. If I can spell right. Excuse me. So, supplementary angles. Okay, here it's just twice as big. It's going to add up to 180 degrees, where you're going to have, angle A and angle B or whatever they're labeled, and it's the same thing. You're not given that they're 180 degrees, but you're given that it's supplementary, so you know that these 2 have to equal 180 degrees. Okay, we're going to do a few examples of this stuff, and that's it. Again, I'm not going to try to make it too long because I know that can be exhausting, but we'll start with basic ones and then we'll get to those. So, example 1, we have a triangle. Okay, you need to solve for x. Okay, and then it's also going to ask you to find each of the angles, which we'll kind of talk about. We won't necessarily go through the whole thing each time. Okay, but when we look at this, I have a triangle. I'm given the angles. You know that they're angles because they're inside the picture. If they're outside the picture and they have an arrow going to it, well, it's still the angle. Okay, so when I do this, I'm going to kind of do it the long way for this example. In the next example, we'll kind of do a little shortcut. But I need to add up all of these and set it equal to 180 because that's what it's going to equal. Okay, so I start with the 2x plus 2. And it doesn't really matter which way you go. I normally just go clockwise, so 2x plus 2 plus 3x minus 13 plus 3x plus 7. Kind of ran over here. Okay, and that equals 180. Now, the equations aren't that bad because it's just putting stuff together, but the math is going to be a little bit more difficult because, again, you're going to have a little bit larger of numbers. So we combine the like terms. We have 2x plus 3x plus 3x, so that would give me 8x. And then I have 2 minus 13, so that would be negative 11. Negative 11 plus 7 will give me negative 4. equals 180. And then we just have a two-step equation, okay? Add your 4 to both sides. They cancel here. We get 8x equals 184. And then we divide by 8. And I get x equals 23. Okay? Now, it's not 23 degrees, it's x equals 23. When you go to find each angle, we'll just do one just for time purposes, okay? Find all of them, but just do the easy one here. You would just take the x and plug it in. So it's 2 times that 23 plus 2. So I get 46 plus 2. So I get 48 degrees. And that would be the degree of this top one. And then you just repeat the process for the other two things. One thing to check is you could add up those 3 angles once you find them, and they better equal 180 or you kind of messed up the problem. Okay, go ahead and pause if you need to. Otherwise, we're going to do example 2. Example 2, okay, we look at this. Now, this isn't going to be proportional. I'm not going to make the picture perfect, okay? But when we do this, it's the same concept, okay? Now we have a square or a rectangle, whatever. It's going to be equal to 360 degrees rather than 180, okay? And from here, just the shortcut I was talking about, just go around clockwise and add up your like terms. So we have 4x plus 2x, which gives me 6x. 6x plus 2x, 8x, 8x plus 2x, 10x. So I have 10x, and then we do the numbers. Negative 33 plus 7, that's going to be a negative 26. Negative 26 minus 20 gives me a negative 46. Plus 10 will give me a negative 36. If I can write. Okay? And then from there we solve the problem just like we were doing before. Okay, we're just going to find x here. We're not going to worry about the other stuff. It's just kind of a process. So I'm going to add 36 to both sides. I'm going to get 10x equals 396. And then I'm going to divide by 10. And I get x equals 39.6. Okay? And again, like on a test, you would take this and you'd plug it back in to get the answers. You know, when we go over stuff as a class, we'll do that just to ensure we got the right answer. Okay, that's it for example 2. We're going to do something for the complementary and supplementary real quick. And then, yeah. All right, so example 3 and 4. You'll notice, okay, we're just going to do them back to back. This is complementary, 90-degree angle, going to add up to 90 degrees. This one's supplementary. It's going to add up to 180 degrees. Okay, now again, they're not going to be proportional. Normally, I'll try to make it so that the side that's smaller looks smaller, the side that's larger looks larger, but it's really not that big of a deal. Okay, it's the same concept as what we just did. Okay, except they're just adding up to what you know instead of, you know, a whole picture. We just kind of got like arrows and stuff. But we know that these add up to 90 degrees. So I'm going to have 3x plus 6 plus 3x minus 2 equals 90 degrees. And then we just solve for x. Okay? 3 plus 3 gives me 6, so I have 6x. 6 minus 2 gives me 4 equals 90. And we solve from there. Subtract your 4 from both sides. They cancel. We get 6x equals 86. And apparently I'm not good at making these problems work out nicely. We'll divide by 6. And I'll get x equals 14 point, what was that? 14.6 repeating. Okay, that's, you won't get that on a test, you'll get 14. Okay. Pause if you need to, otherwise example 4. Same concept, now we're adding up to 180 degrees. Let's do the shortcut. 4x plus 2x gives me 6x. Negative 2 plus 8 gives me 6. Equals 180. And then we just solve from there. Subtract the 6 from both sides. They cancel. We get 6x equals 174. And we solve from there. Divide by 6. And we'll get x equals 29. And that's it, answered. Okay, again, you would plug that in to get the next two. You know, for example, we take the 29, plug in here, we get 2 times 29 plus 8. So I'd get 58 plus 8, so I'd get 66 for that answer. Okay, that has to do it for this. There is going to be one thing on the practice that's called line segments. It's similar, it's kind of a combination of some of this and some of the perimeter stuff where you're going to need to combine things, set them equal to each other and stuff like that. But that's it. Hope you have a good one, and I'll see you next time.